Hello, Hamilton. It's that time again to get up, get off the couch, and tackle your to-do lists around the home. I am Bob Asadorian. Welcome to the Just Ask Bob show. On today's show, we've got a beautiful prop set up for you. We've got our studded wall. We've got a simulation of a bathroom. So we're going to be tackling a faucet installation. We're going to be showing you various types of shut-off valves. We're also going to be showing you the easy way to install a faucet by flipping over the countertop, if that applies in your case, if you're installing a new countertop. As far as the shut-off valves, once again, we're setting the show up on fire. We're going to be soldering. We're going to be trying on compression fittings. But if I can take a moment now to go over something that I found on my porch today. Energy saving kit. Free. That's the big word, Hamilton. Free. Energy Smart by Union Gas. This is awesome. This is a terrific kit. We'll open it up here. We've got insulation. You separate it, you cover your copper piping with it. We also have a water-saving shower head. What else is in here? Oh, nice. We've also got the little attachment piece for the faucet. You can use it for the kitchen sprayer. I believe this one has the two settings for fine spray and low spray. These are very important components, and they're going to save you money. Now, I don't want you throwing anything in the recycle bin, Hamilton. If anything's going in the recycle bin, it should just be the cardboard. Make sure Union Gas is doing their due diligence and giving you this for free, so I want you to install it in your home. We'll talk about it a little later on in the program. Now, if we can go over some of the components we're going to be using today. Obviously, you know my torch. We're going to be using the torch. We're going to be working on shut-off valves. We have two types here. We have the shut-off valves that go on with solder, so these are actually soldered on. Then we have the shut-off valves that are compression. We also have a variety of supply lines. Oh, we have the supply line that's the braided stainless steel. This is the one I prefer. Then we've got the cheapie. So this is important, Hamilton. Not only am I going to endeavor to show you how to do it right, I'm also going to show you how not to do it. So this I don't recommend at all. As far as tools, you're going to need a drill. You're going to need safety glasses. Very important for the compression shut-off valve. You're going to need two adjustable wrenches. Also have a pail standing by with some water in it. Have a wet rag. Have a marker or a pencil to mark with. Just set this out of the way. Now, when working with copper, it's extremely important to be clean. You have to be clean because you're soldering it together. Nothing's going to stick if you're not clean. So we've got a variety of tools that we use here. This is a cleaning wheel. This fits on 1/2-inch copper. They also make it for 3/4. We'll be demonstrating this later in the program. We also have the tool for cleaning fittings. And my favorite, the copper cutting wheel. Very important. We'll be demonstrating this again for you later on. Now, let me read you an email, and this is the email that sparked me to start building the prop. Dear Bob, I would like to learn how to install a bathroom faucet. Can you do a show on the install of the faucet and also on the water shut-off valve? And also, Bob, why do my pipes rattle inside the wall? Miriam in Dundas, Ontario. Well, Miriam, to answer your question, it's pretty common. It's called water hammer. That's the technical terminology. Water hammers because the pipes are loose. Whoever installed the pipes, or if it's an old home, unless the pipes are clamped very well, you see, when your faucet's off, there's there's pressure, but it's in the off mode. When you turn the faucet on, you've got that burst of water coming out. So as you shut it off, it's that on and off burst that'll make the pipes rattle. And in the long term, that can cause damage. It can break the joint, or if it's a compression fitting, it could actually end up leaking. So we're going to walk over to the prop now. We're going to take a look at what we have here. We've got a beautiful cultured marble countertop. Now, I know this is a bit off topic, but let me give you a couple of 1, 2, 3s about these countertops. Your most affordable, if we can start with the affordable, bottom of the scale is laminate countertops. They're everywhere. They come in all new homes. With the laminate countertop, you have to cut the hole in the countertop, and you have no choice but a surface mount sink. Now, the problem with a surface mount sink is as you're cleaning it, you've got that limp here. You've got that lump because your sink sits up high. Now, this is an undermount sink. Gorgeous sink. Now, let's classify these as solid surface countertops, which does include cultured granite, cultured marble, real granite, Corian, onyx, there's a lot of varieties. Now when the countertop falls into the classification of solid, you can have your sink mounted underneath, hence when you clean, everything falls in and it's a beautiful look. Now they also make these one piece with a sink integral. But I'm a little picky in that sense. I would prefer to have the countertop separate from the sink, because if you have a problem with the sink, you can install a new sink from underneath. But if it's all one molded surface and you get a cut or a break, boom, everything goes in the garbage. So now when it comes to installing faucets, it's very important to try to be smart. Now, if your cabinets are already in place and everything's bolted to the wall, you have no choice. You have to put the faucet in this way, and then you've got to get your body underneath to put on the hoses. Now, in this particular case, and maybe yours at home, if you're installing everything from scratch, then the smart way to do it is by flipping the countertop over, which we're going to do for you now. You've got to be careful with these. They are very heavy. Now we're going to flip it over. And we're going to flip it this way. Okay, now let's look over all the parts. We have the faucet, and we also have with the faucet the gasket. Very important to install the gasket. Now some faucets may not come with a gasket. In that case, you have to use 100% pure silicone on the top portion of your countertop between the faucet. Now let's get this installed. Okay, let's get our hardware. This just makes sense. It's the easy and the smart way to do it. Now, let's make sure we put this in the right way. Okay, now this is what's going to spread out the pressure. The other one here. I want to get the nuts going. Now even I make mistakes. This needs to be turned over. Okay. You want to always have the flat side up to catch the nut. Okay, you got to wiggle with it. But now imagine now doing this from bending inside your bending inside the cabinet. That would be a lot more difficult. And once we get the one nut on, it's a lot easier. It'll hold. There we go. Grab the other nut over here. Turn this around. Now you have to be careful with solid surface countertops because you can end up cracking them. You have to be careful not to apply too much pressure. So you want to get it hand tight. Then we're going to give it a couple of turns. There you go, much easier. Now if you weren't changing your countertop and this was already pre-installed in a pre-existing bathroom, you're going to have to possibly pull the door off, crawl underneath, and do everything by kinking your neck upward. We're going to take a quick commercial break, we're going to get this out of the way, and then we're going to start working on the copper.
A lot of bad stuff happens when people don't know enough to stop drinking before they lose control. Fights, screwing around, unsafe sex, rape. If you're gonna drink, be smart about it. keepcontrol.ca.
When you can't do it all, do what you can. Compassion for others. Pass it on.
Welcome back to the show. On today's show, we've been installing a faucet. We've also been talking about, we will be talking about water hammer. We're talking about copper piping. It's very important for homeowners to understand, as I always mention, there's good, better, and best when it comes to products. So when you're doing the work on your own home and you're hopefully cutting the contractor to the equation, use good quality parts. These supply lines here are stainless steel braided supply lines. They're very high quality. Now you can also buy cheap plastic ones. It's not in your benefit because you have to understand as the water in your home passes through the supply line to your faucet, it is under a tremendous amount of pressure. Now we've also talked about shut-off valves. Very important to use ball valve shut-off valves. Typically, most valves in homes today are gate valves. Homeowners understand those as the valve that keeps turning and turning. Those usually drip after some time because it's not a good quality product. You know, the engineering is not there. That's old age technology. These ball valves are a quarter turn. They're beautiful products, and again, they come in, as we'll show you in a moment, they come in the type that you can solder, and they also come in a compression fitting. Now, just before the break, I was telling people that when you're working on your bathroom, again, depends how extensive the remodel is. If the cabinet and countertop are already permanently in place, then you have no choice but to crawl underneath the cabinet to do your installation. Now, if you're installing a new countertop and a new cabinet, then it makes complete sense, as we did before the break, to pre-install the faucet, and now we're going to hook up the supply lines. Now, to put on the supply lines, one end is for the faucet. Oh, I've got the wrong one here. Yeah, one end is for the faucet. The other end goes to the supply valve. So as you can see now, this will thread onto your supply valve. This will thread onto your faucet. So as with anything, you start putting it on by hand. So we want to get it on hand tight. Now, here's where people get into trouble. If I keep turning this and I apply pressure with the wrench, I'm going to end up damaging the copper. So what you have to do is use two wrenches. One is a backup. This is going to be resisting my tightening, and with the other one I'm going to be tightening. So as I tighten with my left hand, I'm pushing the opposite way with my right. The proper term is a backup wrench. That's the proper way to do it, or else you're going to damage the copper. Now, this is installed. We'll just push it out of the way here for a moment. Now, we're going to talk about shut-off valves. We're going to trim this off. Copper cutting wheel. Very nice tool. This is important because it leaves a perfectly cut surface. It leaves the pipe nice and square and clean. So to put it on, you loosen it up. You put it on, and then you turn. About 2 turns, you tighten it. Another 1 or 2 turns, you tighten it again. Keep tightening. There we go. We've got a perfect cut. Now we want to make sure we've got a good surface, good clean surface. You put it on all the way, and you turn. That's going to give you a nice clean surface. Now we want to make sure to apply flux. This is going to let the solder draw itself in. So we're going to put this all the way around. Now that's the closed position. This is the open. You must have it in the open when you're soldering it on. I'm going to set that here. We're going to have our pail underneath. A little bit of water in the pail helps. Get our tools ready. You want to have a nice consistent heat. You want to give that a moment to heat up. When it's the right temperature, it's just going to draw the solder into it. You see what I meant about keeping the valve open? Is we've got an area for the steam to escape. Look at that, it just draws itself in. That's going to make a nice watertight joint. Now this is one way of doing it. The other way of doing it, let me talk about compression fittings. For those of you that don't like to solder, now these are Ontario Building Code approved. The compression fitting is fine. The compression fitting has three components: the valve itself, the round Ferrelli, and also the nut. So this, as in compression, this is going to squeeze itself on. Now a lot of people don't trust these, and to be honest with you, nothing beats soldering it on. That is the best way to do it. Now we're going to show you how these are installed. And get our rag to cool this down. Okay, we're going to give this a little cut. Again, beautiful tool. Once you see there's not enough resistance, you tighten it again. Keep tightening. Another turn. There we go. Now these tools usually, I mean, this is a very fine brand, so this is worth anywhere from $20 to $30, but it's worth its weight in gold. You don't want to be doing that with a hacksaw. No good. You're never going to get a nice clean edge. So once again, we're going to use our cleaning tool. You want to be nice and clean. This will get any debris out of there. Now we're not going to need the water in this case. Now with the compression fitting, you've got to put the large nut on first. Then you need to put the brass piece on. Now you fit the valve on. So you see everything fits together, everything lines up. Now you start threading it. Like I taught you before, when we're putting on the supply line, you're going to be using this as a backup wrench. So the large one, you're going to put on the nut. The small one's going to hold your valve in place. Now, we're tightening to the left, and with the other hand, we're holding the valve straight. Once this nut locks in place, it makes a beautiful seal. There you go. Now that's the two ways to do it. And I want to be able to show you both ways. Some people are uncomfortable with soldering. They want to use the compression valve. Again, both products are Ontario Building Code approved, but my preference would be soldering it on. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about water hammer. We're going to talk about these nasty loose pipes in your walls.
HARP is a registered charity that runs community centers in neighborhoods of highest need, providing free programs and services which help residents build community and deal with the impacts of poverty. While HARP serves people of all ages, we emphasize youth who are most vulnerable. Helping young people avoid trouble costs a little. Patching them back together after they have done themselves or others harm costs a whole lot more.
It can begin with the simplest of gestures. A gift of time, energy, commitment. Something precious that grows stronger with every hand that touches it. It grows across communities and through the very fabric of our nation. And begins once again with the simplest of gestures. To Canada's 6.5 million volunteers, thanks.
All Welcome back to the show. Today we're talking water hammer. A little earlier on in the show we talked about various types of shut-off valves. We talked about the bathroom, the sink cabinet. We talked about installing the supply lines. Now, part of the email's caller was talking about water hammer. Now, obviously this is only my prop, so it's not quite done, but it's very, very important that your water supply pipes are adequately fastened. So in this case, we're going to take a moment to install cross-blocking. It should go behind the pipe, fit into the wall. Usually the cut should be a little bit better than that, but I mean you can see the point. Looking at the one that I've installed on the bottom here, you want to fit it farthest to the back. You want to make sure to screw it at 2 points, and you want to make sure to use the proper clamps. Now, if we can talk about clamps, you must use copper to copper clamps. Now, you don't want any other type of metal touching the copper because it'll cause a reaction. And you even have to be particular because the screws that you use should be brass-coated screws. It's very, very important that you use the proper fasteners. But you see the point I'm trying to explain here is the pipe has to be adequately supported. Now, in a lot of new homes and even old homes, 2 and 3 stories, you've got this copper traveling upwards of 20 to 30 feet from the basement through the main floor to the second floor. That's a lot of pressure coming in and down. So when you shut the faucets on and off, if you hear the water hammer, that means the pipes aren't supported properly. Now, let me show you some more items here. We actually had a caller call in this item. This is very common. Now, most sinks, if you think of your sink now and you have the mechanical action, so this is the drain. This is the one where you've got to push the lever up and down for the pop-up. Now, these components, they can cause you a bit of trouble, but if you notice in the package here, how many parts? There's a lot of moving mechanical parts here. I've got an option for homeowners, which is a very simple fix. And I've been using this for years. It's never given me an issue. Now, as you can see right off the bat, it's pretty well almost one part. It comes apart. Now, as it says push, you're going to push. That's it. Your water stopped. Then you're going to pop it up. Now, they're very easy to install. You take the bottom off. You take the nut off. Again, if you're using, on today's show, we were talking cultured granite. So if you're using a cultured granite countertop or any solid surface countertop, you don't want to use plumber's putty. You want to use 100% silicone. This is where you drop it into the sink. This is what shows on top. And then you make your connections on the bottom and you've got the gasket. This part here can take pipe dope. And you want to thread it in nicely. So it is a good alternative compared to all the components in here that many times have to be disassembled, and usually this will come with the faucet where it's got the rod sticking out the back and you adjust it. Now I want to take a moment to talk about our Facebook contest. The Just Ask Bob show can be brought to you, Hamilton, brought direct to your home where we can start helping you by teaching you how to chip away at your own to-do lists. Like us on Facebook. Give us some ideas on what's going on in the home. I mean, every home is different. For the wives, is it the husband? Is he out golfing too much? Is he flickering with the remote control every spare minute he can get? What's the reason your to-do lists are not being tackled in your own home? Let us know at Just Ask Bob. Visit the website, fill in our quick submit form, and we are going to be running this contest within the first quarter of 2012, and we are going to be selecting one Hamilton homeowner, and we're going to bring the show to you. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy the next show, and please do visit us on our website to watch all our other past half-hour shows. Thank you, Hamilton.